Welcome to the Conscious Pivot Podcast with international speaker, business mentor, best-selling author of Pivot, and your host, Adam Markel. The Conscious Pivot shares the stories and wisdom of people who have successfully reinvented some area of their business and personal life. You'll gain powerful insights into how you can fully embrace new opportunities, increase your performance, and master the art and science of innovation and resilience. So please join Adam as he guides you on your conscious pivot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Pivot Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Markel. I feel incredibly lucky to be here right this moment, blessed, in fact, that we've gotten another beautiful day. Every day is a beautiful day when you're above ground, as somebody once told me. And as much as that sounds like a cliche, man, it's just true. It's just a fact, because the alternative isn't it's a good one, right? I mean, we all have challenges. I got challenges. Doesn't matter, how good things are going in one area, money, relationships, health. I mean, those are all blessings, but doesn't mean that I don't wake up and have an ache or a pain or a complaint or something going on in my headspace that I just don't understand. And the more I read, the more people I meet, those are regular, everyday people, as well as people who've done some significantly, things that other people would envy, impressive things. Doesn't make them any different as people. Everybody's got the same aches and pains, same complaints, same crap between their ears sometimes, and I'm no different. So I just feel grateful to be here, and grateful that I've got a wonderful guest today that we get to meet, get to know. He's somebody I'm just getting to know, somebody that I look forward to getting to know, actually. And I'm going to introduce him to you in just a second, but let's start with his name, Mr. Ellis Wyms, and I'll read a bit of his bio, and then we're going to dig right in with Ellis. As a sixth-round draft pick out of Mississippi State, Ellis Wyms quickly established himself as a mainstay on one of the most renowned defenses in NFL history. On his way to a successful 8-year NFL career, Wyms reached the pinnacle of the sports world in just his second season, helping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to take home their first and only championship in Super Bowl, looks like 37, if I'm getting my Roman numerals correct. Following the conclusion of his playing career, Ellis launched Athletes for Computer Science. Despite a successful NFL career, a pathway to success in football was not always clear to Ellis. Born and raised in rural Mississippi, he envisioned a world where students from all communities have the same opportunities to develop skills in computer science. That's so cool. As industries continue to be shaped by technology, it was clear to Ellis that these tools are needed for students to be successful in the 21st century job market. That is freaking way cool. Ellis, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you with us today.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man. It's Super Bowl week, man. So, I'm geeked. I'm getting ready to go to Miami in a few hours. So, it's Super Bowl week now. I'm amped up right now.
This is it, man. This is the culmination of just endless hours of practice and playing and film and getting chewed out in the locker room and winning and losing and everything, man. Talk about aches and pains. Like, I didn't plan for that intro into this conversation to be so on point with with your former profession, but it's true. Hey, listen, what's not written in this? I read a lot of bios and make a lot of introductions in my work. I have for more than 10 years, and I'm not always really moved by what somebody's doing, especially when they've sort of transitioned out of one career and into another. Sometimes it just doesn't move me. I don't know how else to put it, but this did and does, and I really appreciate what you're doing in the world right now. And
I appreciate that, man.
What's not written in that? What didn't I say that you'd love for people to know about you?
I would say that I'm a family man. I'm a father. Love chasing my kids around the baseball and basketball every weekend, yelling at referees and having fun. Let's see. I don't know. It was written in there. I'm from Indianola, Mississippi. So at heart, I'm a country boy. Yeah. Grew up in Indianola, hometown of B.B. King, King of the Blues.
That's right.
Yeah. So a lot of blues, a lot of hole-in-the-wall clubs, a lot of catfish plates, A lot of good people. So yeah, I mean, I think I want people to know I'm a father. I'm from this. I'm from the small town in the South, and I don't know. I'm in Texas because I like barbecue.
Well, I was
You know?
wondering about that hat you're wearing, man. You got a
Yeah,
Houston.
man.
You
You know
guys
what?
can't see it. Houston Astros hat
I
on.
went to an event in New York a couple weeks ago after the cheating scandal came out, and I
Yeah.
mean, I wore this hat, and the New Yorkers they weren't really nice to me. I'll just say that they weren't really nice. They had some choice words for me about the Astros hat.
Well, I'm a Yankees fan. I grew up in New York, man. So I can appreciate it because when you know what the Yankees in the last 2 years have had two of the best seasons well, I can't say they've ever had because with 27 world championships, when you
Yeah,
don't win a world championship, it's not one of your best seasons. But when you win more than 100 games in
yeah.
consecutive seasons and don't win the World Series, as a Yankee fan, you go, what is, I mean, WTF, right?
Yeah.
And so like a lot of New Yorkers, man, they can get on folks and to just think that maybe some team had a little unfair advantage in connection with that.
Hey,
We hate the Sox, man, and now they're under fire now too. So, you
man, you know what? It's an old saying that if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
know.
So, especially in sports.
Or if you
So
ain't looking for,
but you got to figure out how to cheat without getting caught. That's the
I,
thing. You
I
can't
think
get caught. That's
you're
the rule.
you're being very bold right there to say that, because I would have probably said, if you're not looking for an edge, an edge. But you're right. You use the right words. I mean,
Blatantly cheating.
blatantly cheating,
In
stealing.
football, if the referee not looking and I'm holding, I'm not holding.
It's like, what can you get away with?
What can you get away with?
Right?
But the Astros didn't get away with it. So, they tried a little too hard. They were trying a little too hard.
It's a risk reward thing. I mean, you take
Yep.
the risk and they did get the reward, but hey, now it's come back a little bit. I mean, when you're, I'm trying to remember the name of their manager, but he just lost his job. I mean, Hinch, right?
I forgot his last name. But
Yeah.
AJ, he got fired. He lost his job. But hey,
Yeah.
he went home with a World Series trophy. It's just, it's got a little smudge in the corner.
Got a little smudge in the corner. Exactly. They're not going to put an asterisk next to that stat or something, I guess. But
just the smudge, not an asterisk.
You know what? It's so interesting. We went out to see some blues last night, in fact. And so when you were bringing up B.B. King earlier, I'm thinking about when I saw him in Red Bank, sitting down with Lucille in his hand. And
yeah,
I mean, that man was a gift, and what he could do with a guitar. I mean, just incredible, right? I mean,
you know what? He came back to Indianola every summer and did like a blues festival, and that was Indianola, Mississippi, small town, but we get people from all over the planet in our little town. Eating catfish out there in a field with mosquitoes everywhere, listening to B.B. King play blues until 2 a.m. So I grew up on the blues. I grew up, in that time. And there's some things that you don't have growing up in rural Mississippi, but there's a lot of great things that you do. With your people and your family and the connections that you have there. People are simple. Life is simple. So a lot of things you don't get caught up in that you probably would if you were living in another place. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's not always optimal, but it's definitely a blessing.
oh, that's a beautiful way to put that. We saw John Mayall last night, 86 years old. Check it out. Wow. He's a British blues god, icon. Played with Eric Clapton in this thing called the Blues Breakers back in the day, and I just was blown away because we. And I'm going to talk to you about this in a moment too. Resilience is a big topic for us. In fact, when it comes to the kind of keynote speaking that I do and the consulting we do with organizations around the globe, it's always about this topic of how do you gain a greater edge in the marketplace. So we talk about not sort of cheating, but it's a cheating of a sort when you think about it, because any kind of edge you can get, typically in in competition, you don't tell your opponent about it. You're not going to tell the other team that you've discovered something. Just like a company, an organization is not going to tell their competition that they just discovered some kind of an edge, and we're not talking about a steroid edge. It's a performance edge on the side of how you become more resilient, how you increase your capacity, how you can lift your performance based on how you take care of yourself, which can be really relevant to your, the former profession you've got, and also with why you started helping kids in the way that you're currently helping them. So just real quick on John, 86 years old, and this guy's standing up behind the keyboard out in front. He's got a ridiculously cool, eclectic, rad band with these like young bassist guys, really, really neat on the bass. And then he's got a woman with fiery red hair on the electric guitar playing lead guitar, and she's just shredding, and older dude behind the drums, and he's standing out in front for 2 hours. Didn't take a break, man. They didn't even take a, like nothing. Even right, with their encore, it just came right back out, and he's on the keyboard, he's playing guitar, he's playing the harp. And I'm thinking, man, this guy is the picture of resilience. Who if any of us would want to be 86 years old, still doing what we're most passionate about when we're 86, filling up an entire club, getting paid to do it?
That's amazing. That's
right?
Amazing. And yeah, like you said, it's taking care of yourself. But I think more than anything, I think he found his lane, and he got in it, and he stayed in it, and he's fulfilled by what he's doing. So, when you love what you're doing like that, and you really find what you're passionate about, again, it's not work to do it. It would be work for him not to do it, probably, right? It'd probably be harder for him if they told him you couldn't do that anymore. So, that's just a testament to really finding your lane and finding something that can get you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. So let's talk about your lane, because, obviously you started playing football when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't make it to the NFL when you decide in high school. Very few people just go, hey, I'd like to play some football.
And you got a few monsters out there like that, but yeah, for the most part, you got to be raised in it a little bit.
Right. Those folks are outside the bell curve for sure. So give us a little bit of the history that leads you to the NFL, and then and that becomes your lane, and then you pivot, you make a change to in retiring, et cetera. So give us a little essence of that story, if you could.
Well, I think, I started playing football, growing up in a small town, you don't have all these football leagues or little leagues. So you just started playing with your friends in the neighborhood. And when I was a kid, it was Jerry Rice and Walter Payton and Singletary and Lawrence Taylor, all those guys.
That's my man.
Yeah, LT. I got a chance to meet LT. LT is still off the chain, man. He's like he's a barrel of laughs, and he lives his life, man. But those guys were, kind of people we looked up to. They kind of got us interested in the game. So I started playing when I was in junior high. Actually broke my leg the first year I went out, was in a full leg cast, but still ended up going back. Went to high school and was a starter on my high school team. Now, my high school team, we weren't that good. Like, we played a lot of homecomings. You know how, teams, you're going to get scheduled for homecoming when the team's like, yeah, we need to get this win this week. So we're going to schedule those guys. Like, we were those guys. Like, so I didn't come from a winning culture. But I think what was always something about me, because again, when you grew up in that environment, a lot of times, the culture, is it a winning culture? Like, we have an off-season program. 2 or 3 guys may show up. We might start the season with 80 guys, and 20 may finish the season because the culture just wasn't built for guys to be resilient and guys to really show up and when things are hard and be there at practice every day. But I think I was always just kind of wired to just really just kind of do what people asked, do what I committed myself to. My grandfather, I didn't have my father growing up. My grandfather had a huge impact on my life. And he was a military man. He was in World War II. So, he was a very hard worker. He was also a carpenter. So he built a lot of houses. So I think some of my work ethic of just, not showing up just showing up because it's your job and you're committed to do it. And I just happened to be a good enough athlete, when showing up and doing the work that I stood out, So I stood out in a culture that was, it wasn't a winning culture. We lost a lot of games. We didn't play good football. But when we went to play games, I played well. And I got an opportunity to be the first person from my high school to get like a Division I scholarship, which was really, really cool. But for me at that time, like that was the pinnacle, right? Because I'd never seen anybody go to college, right? So it's like, this is it. I'm going to Mississippi State on a full football scholarship. Like that was it. So I get to Mississippi State and, I was a linebacker in high school. I showed up like 40 pounds bigger than they recruited me. So, of course, they made me move to defensive line. And I hated it because I wanted to be a linebacker. But I did pretty good at it. And Coach Sherrill, Coach Jackie Sherrill, you remember Jackie Sherrill?
Sure do.
Jackie Sherrill coached at Pitt, coached at A&M, Coach Tony Dorsett. He was the coach at Mississippi State. They recruited me. Great guy, mentor, father figure. But he was the first person that told me, hey, man, if you keep doing what you're supposed to do, you might get a chance to play in the NFL. And it wasn't like real to me, but he kind of spoke that into me. It's like, okay, maybe I can. So I go through most of my career in college. I'm not a starter, right? I'm backing people up all the way to my senior year. My senior year, I think I started 6 or 7 games. Then I got hurt. And so, I did still, this thing of getting drafted wasn't really real to me until I saw my name on like a list that ranked me with defensive ends. So now I'm like, okay, I'm getting drafted, right? So,
yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then, I go to Senior Bowl, play there, go to Combine. Combine, they poke you, prod you. And I go from, not thinking I'm going to get drafted to happy I'm going to get drafted to after the Combine, I'm like, man, I'm better than these dudes.
Yep.
I'm looking at everybody go through the Combine and running. I'm like, man, I'm better than these dudes. Like, I got to get drafted, like at least on the first day.
Yeah.
But then the draft comes and I don't, right? So, so the first day I don't get drafted, okay, I didn't go first day. Second day, we're going through, we get to the 6th round, and the Buffalo Bills called me.
Yeah.
And they had a conversation with me, and they said, look, we don't think you're going to get drafted here. If you don't get drafted, we like to sign you as a free agent. So at that moment, I'm like, I'm not even getting drafted because this team's calling me and telling me like, if I don't get drafted, I'm coming there. And of course, like nobody wants to live in Buffalo. Like absolutely nobody on the planet wants to go live in Buffalo.
Hey, all the people from Buffalo, don't take offense to that, man.
Yeah.
We know how beautiful. You know how beautiful Buffalo is.
It looks like the coldest place on the planet.
It's like the tundra.
It looks like the coldest place on the planet on game, just because of the cold. Like,
yeah.
The city's beautiful, but man, I'm a country boy from Mississippi. Like,
yeah, the opposite.
Thinking, no, even for the NFL, like God, Buffalo. So when they called me, I kind of freak out because I think I'm not going to get drafted. I'm sitting out in my car, crying, and then my mom, we're at my grandmother's house. My mom comes out and she has my cell phone. She's like, Tony Dungy's on the phone. So I'm in my car crying. Got the phone from Coach Dungy. Sorry about that.
That's Tony Dungy calling.
Yeah, it might be Coach Dungy hitting me up now. What's up, Coach? I'll probably see him this week somewhere, man. He does a lot of things in the community, so I'll probably be at his All-Pro Dads event this weekend. But I took the call from Tony, and he was like, "We're going to take you with this pick here in the 6th round. Be ready to come in and work hard and earn a spot." So, that was my journey from an environment where it was a tough environment where I had to stand out when nobody else had stood out, going to college, not being a starter, and really kind of work my way through there to get drafted in the 6th round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and getting a chance to live my dream. So, it was looking back on it is an amazing journey, man. I tell people all the time, there's nowhere you can go to get the feeling of getting an opportunity to play in the NFL on Sundays. Like that's just something you can't ever replace.
So you said earlier, you're talking about winning culture. And I think whether it's in a small organization, big organization, or anywhere else, any other environment, like even a family environment. You and I, before we started this show, we're talking about your kids, my kids, and And so you want to have a winning culture. I just think that's a great term. And so I want to understand your definition. How would you define what is a winning culture?
A winning culture is one where everybody involved and everybody on the team or in the group is pushing together toward one goal. And that goal is the singularly most important thing for everyone. And it's a unique thing, and it's not something that everyone can do. You see the like the coaches in the NFL, they're constantly changing over because they don't have people in leadership positions that understand how to build a winning culture. And at that time, when I got drafted to the Buccaneers, Coach Dungy was, the poster child for being able to build winning culture. I mean, he took that team from when they weren't the Bucks, they were the Yucks.
Yeah.
Like, they were like 0-16, they were the bottom dwellers of the NFL. And Coach Dungy came in and he was able to build a winning culture, which was kind of build a way of doing things, a way we do things, the way we practice, the way we prepare. We're going to have a mantra throughout this team of how we behave in the community, how we behave on the practice field, the effort we give on the practice field. It's the way we do things, and everybody in the organization had to be accountable to it. And the leaders in the organization, the best players on our team, they were bought in. So the first day you come in, you understand what the culture is from a Warren Sapp or Derek Brooks or John Lynch or Rondé Barber. Those guys as players would let you know what the standard was and make sure you understood that every day we hit the grass, every day we're in the meeting room, we're locked in, we're focused, and we're getting better. And if you can't do that, then you can't be here. And you understand that really early on.
What was that mantra? Did you just explain it? Was it, what are the words that you define that mantra as?
I think the thing, and you'll hear Mike Tomlin say it right now, even as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was our defensive backs coach on our Super Bowl. And the thing that you will hear most is no excuses, no explanations, get it done.
Yeah.
No excuses, no explanations. So nobody wants to hear a reason why you weren't there, why you didn't do it. I failed, or I slipped, or I forgot, or, it was no excuses, no explanations, max effort, know your job, know your assignment. If you're on the grass, we got to be able to trust all 11 guys, understand exactly what to do on every single play, and you execute your job first. And that's a very unselfish way of playing a team sport. Because again, you get paid by stats a lot of times in production.
Right.
But in order to be within the scheme of what we're doing, you may have to do your job, even though the play's over there, or you think the play may be happening over there. You can go make that tackle, you can go get that sack, or you can go make that interception. The scheme of our defense says you stay here and you guard this area. So you have to be unselfish and put the scheme first. And down to a man, like, you put the scheme first, you play as hard as you can, but you do your job first, and you're committed to our goal as a defense, not your goals as a player.
Right. One goal for a team. That, sports is such a great analogy for other areas of life and business in particular, because any team, any sports team, they have got one goal. Everybody on that team's got one goal. What's that goal? Right? What's that goal?
It's supposed to be winning a championship.
That's it. There's one goal, and everybody's bought in. Like you say, everybody's bought into that one goal, and that's a different kind of accountability that exists, because in an organization, for example, you got people who are thinking about themselves. I mean, look, you got people on teams that are thinking about themselves too, and those are losing teams, right? For the most part. But when you get a team that can win, it's because everybody's pulling in the same direction. Everybody's on that same page, and putting themselves second to the overriding goal of just let's win a game.
Yeah, that's win. And at the end of the day, no matter if you're a football team or organization, you're going to need people to achieve whatever goals that the company has. and everybody's got to buy in, and you have to create a culture within that company that motivates people to want to buy in. And sometimes, the leader isn't the person that's trying to tell everybody what to do. Like, the leader is the person that can inspire everybody to believe in the same goal, to set the same priorities. And the best leaders I've been around in the NFL, again, they're able to understand their individual players that they're in charge of, or whether it's the D-line coach or the coordinator, or they're able to understand their guys, and they're able to really get everybody on the same page based on how those guys think, how they process information. So the best leaders I've been around, they're tough, but they really get to know, not like personally, but they want to know how you think, what motivates you, why are you here, so they can give you that motivation.
Yeah. This is maybe I'm going to get your feedback on this, because to me, feedback and accountability is such a big deal in how it is that we get better and how we are able to help other people get better as leaders, whether, again, it's a leader in a family or it's a leader in a company. And so my theory is that because I've never played professional sports, I played in college and did, been around it all my life, but there's a difference between feedback that's rooted in judgment, which we all know what it feels like when you're being judged, right? People don't want to make mistakes. They get tense. They are defensive, right? No pun intended, right? But they get super defensive when they feel like somebody's being critical of them and judging them. So even in the high intensity arena of professional sports, my theory is that what you saw, especially in the winning circle and the teams that won, were systems of accountability and feedback that was rooted in something other than judgment. In fact,
absolutely.
I feel like that feedback, that accountability was rooted in love of the game, love of the mission, of that singular purpose that everybody was bought into. I mean, is that far off from how you experienced it?
Oh, that's right. That's right on the head. With Rob Marinelli, he just left as the defense coordinator for the Cowboys. I think Oakland just hired him as their defensive line coach, but he was my defensive line coach for 5 years in Tampa. And one of the things he always did, he was tough. Like, he'd get on you, but it always be rooted in the expectations, the standard. So if the standard is if you're one-on-one with an offensive lineman, you beat him, right? And if you don't beat him, he's going to get on you by not beating that guy. He's not going to tell you that you suck for not beating him. Yeah. He's like, hey, the standard is you're one-on-one, you beat that guy. That's the standard. Let's go. Now, he might say it with some harsh words, right? He might get on you, but it's never in a situation where, again, he's degrading you or tearing you down.
Right.
Because again, if you're trying to accomplish something, and I do a presentation called the winning edge. And if you're trying to accomplish something, especially something big or like winning in the NFL, you got to go out and go against a 6'7", 350-pound lineman. You can't go out there not being confident. Like, you can't go out there not believing I'm going to beat this guy or I'm going to achieve this thing. Because if you don't believe it, you're going to attack it like that. And then he's going to punch you in the face. Like, in the NFL, like, if you run up on somebody timid, they're going to punch you in the chest and knock you on the ground. Yep. So you have to attack it like, I believe I'm about to drag this guy. Like, he sucks. I'm better than him. He can't stop me. And the best coaches will make sure you go into a game with that mindset, not second guessing yourself and not being sure about your ability.
They build you up. Yeah. But ultimately that love gets defined in different ways. So I was a lifeguard at the beach, and it was life and death all the time on this beach. We made hundreds of rescues every day, more than 100,000 patrons on the beach on Saturdays and Sundays. And we were a crew of 20 lifeguards, and we got that job done every single day. I was there 7 summers. And it was because that culture, as you said earlier, that how I would define the winning culture at our field was that we had each other's backs. We had a got your back culture. That was our mantra was nobody goes down in our water. Nobody goes down on our watch. You this is intense even for football. Like, we're talking about intense stuff. We would say
about life or death.
You either make the save or you die trying. That was that was our mantra. We lived with that, but we were all bought in, and we knew that people had our backs all the time. So, yeah, I mean, even in baseball, like we're talking about the Astros and the Yankees. I mean, you think about classic example on the pitcher's mound, right? Pitchers throwing up some balls are flying, or things are going on. Manager or coach, pitching coach comes out. Third baseman comes in, first baseman, catcher comes out. Right? What are they doing on the mound? What are they saying to that guy? You suck, dude. You man. I haven't seen anybody suck as bad as you going back to AA ball. Forget AAA, right? There's no conversation like that out there, right? It's like, how you feeling, man? Like what's going on? How's your arm? What do you think about the next batter? And it's only because they want to win a game. It's not that people might have lost confidence or want to say something pretty harsh, even, like get personal, but they want to win a game.
They want to win. And again, it's that one goal. And again, they probably go out there on the mound and probably like, hey man, how you feeling? I'm okay. You got 10 more pitches? I think I got 10 more. Let's go. These next 10, let's go strike out these batters right now. Let's go. Because, again, sometimes you just need to be pepped up. And everything comes from your mind, your mental, how you feel about it. I mean, the body will do what the mind tells it to do. But you have to sometimes, push it.
Yeah. And sometimes they're going to get out there and go, you know what, give me the ball. I mean, it's just like, give me the ball. But it's not, again, give me the ball, you suck, go take a shower. It's like, we're gonna bring in somebody else to help now. Now it's this is where it's again not a personal thing, but it's about that singular vision, whatever that is. So I want to talk about your leaving the NFL after an 8-year amazing career. When did you guys win the Super Bowl, by the way? What year was that?
That was 2003.
2003. So I'm trying to think what year it was that in the year that the Patriots were undefeated, and the only defeat they had that year was to the New York Giants that beat them in the Super Bowl. On the way to that Super Bowl season, winning season, the Giants may have been like, I don't know, finish the season 8-8 or something. I mean, they didn't have a great season, but they marched through the playoffs, and they had to play Tampa Bay, had to play you guys in Tampa Bay. Were you playing at that time? Do you remember that one?
I think that was a year before I got there. That was a couple years before I got there with that game. I was there. Let's see, we played against the Oakland Raiders when we basically traded for John Gruden. He was the Oakland coach in 2002, and then we traded for him, and we got him to coach us in 2003. So his last two teams end up playing each other in the Super Bowl, which was probably crazy.
Trippy, yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you play 8 seasons, and it's time to retire. What was that about? Because this has become a big thing right now with guys like Andrew Luck, and I forget this other guy just more recently.
Luke Kuechly.
Like 28 years old.
Great player, great linebacker, plays for the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, everybody doesn't get to choose. I know during that time, I didn't get to choose. Basically, for most guys, the NFL says, look, we're not going to hire you anymore. So nobody wants to sign you to a contract. So you're done. And again, that's a tough transition, man, because again, football has been, your life. Like you've seen yourself through that prism from junior high through high school, through college, through pros. That's who you are. And now when it's not there anymore, you're a little lost. Like, what's next? Who am I when I don't have on a helmet? Yeah. And that's always a really tough question for guys to ask when they're done with the game.
Yeah. And I think when you said it earlier that you change, that you were in your lane, and that's powerful when people are in their lane. I think that, and I want you to weigh in on your experience of this. I don't feel like you changed your lane, even with what you're doing. I think you just widened your lane. That's how I'd frame it, because what you're doing now, you have tremendous passion for and helping kids. And I'd really love for you to tell us about Athletes for Computer Science and what inspired you to do that, and what in that transition was most difficult for you. Because I don't think my guess is most people watching or listening to this right now have never heard that about the NFL, that there's sort of a time. I mean, we know when people get injured and you got to retire, or when you choose to retire, like some of the folks we just mentioned. But that moment where you sort of get the, you get the sentence. It's like somebody says to you, "You're done," and we be like,
Yeah,
"No, I got more." But
and it's not your choice. Like, it's not your choice. So it's hard, man. It was hard for me, because I really wanted to play. And, I was working out, trying to get in great shape. But I had so many injuries. Both my shoulders were bone on bone. My lower back was, bone on bone. I had L4, L5 was bone on bone. My ankles were arthritic. So even though I was 29 years old, like, my body was beat up pretty bad. So bringing me in as a player is like, we're bringing in, damaged goods a lot of times, when you're at that point. So they just have to weigh, a younger player that costs less, older player that costs more, and he's hurt. So that's hard for you to take, that your career's over. So, in that transition, like, I got pulled in a bunch of different directions by a bunch of different people because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, so, if somebody came along and said, "Hey, man, you should try this," or "You should try this," or "What about this?" And it's like, I don't know. So, you just end up kind of just going in the wind because, again, football is gone. It's not coming back. And you don't know what's in front of you. So, that was a really, really tough transition for me. But I've always done stuff in the community, even from when I was, in my early 20s. Like, I used to do football camps and go to schools and speak. So after, I tried working in the trucking industry and being in that industry because somebody asked me there. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Real estate, it was boring, right? Money management, don't like it. All that stuff, there's nothing could really kind of get my juices flowing. Like, I wasn't getting up like, yeah, I'm looking forward to going to look at these balance sheets today. Like, I just wasn't, it wasn't my thing. Not that it couldn't be somebody else, because numbers could be somebody else's thing. Wasn't my thing. So I've always done stuff in the community. I've always been very tech savvy. My major in college was technology teacher ed. So I wanted to teach tech classes and coach football. When I graduated. So I started working with Microsoft on trying to find innovative ways for kids to stay fit. So we would, go in and do programs, raise money, donate Xboxes with body tracking cameras, all these different technology to help kids kind of track their fitness, track their movements. But then
their physical fitness mostly, right?
Yeah, physical fitness.
Got it.
It was physical fitness. But I started to kind of see the places that I was in. I'm like, man, these places are hurting economically. Like, it's not like the problem is that they need to exercise more. A lot of the issues around the country is people don't have a way to participate in the economy, and they don't have the confidence that they can.
Right.
So I started to see some of the computer science education things that Microsoft was doing in the store, through my partnership. And I was like, you know what? Why can't other people have access to this stuff? People who don't live near a Microsoft store. Because if you live near a Microsoft store, you can go take classes whenever you want for free.
Right.
But if you don't have access. And most of the country, most of our educational system is struggling to find access to training that's actually relevant to the economy. So I created Athletes for Computer Science. We teach the classes remotely. We teach them in rural areas and inner cities, anywhere in the country. We can teach classes, and I get athletes to come on as education ambassadors on our video conferences.
Yeah.
So they come on, they visit classes, they get a chance to talk to the students, engage with the students. Students get to ask them questions. They encourage the students. They inspire the students. We hire college students to teach our classes, computer science students, because we're teaching computer science fundamentals K through 8. Right, so it's not like we get our college students who have some background in computer science, education students who have a desire to be teachers, and they get a chance to learn how to teach remotely and teach something and inspire kids in a way to do something that could possibly be relevant in a career or actually starting a business. So I wanted to be a part of really kind of helping support our educational system in that way.
That's so cool. I mean, My mother-in-law was a teacher for 30 years, and my
Mm.
wife 18 years, and my dad for 30 plus years. I mean, I did it for 2 years in middle school, so I know that age group pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
they
and
had
man, it's a handful, boy. 30 of them.
they beat me up good, man. 30.
Yeah.
I had 5 classes, 30 each. 150, 150. 13, 14-year-olds. It was. I'm still exhausted from that.
Yeah. Hey, you got to have the patience of a monk,
You
like, to
need the
be in there.
patience of a monk, and
Yeah.
yeah, nothing more important than that. I
Yeah.
just can't say thank you enough for being inspired to do that. It must feel great. I mean, that's where you're expressing your passion these days. And when did you start that? How long ago is it?
I started that in 2018, and we've had over 1,000 kids go through our program. And again, we teach these kids, like, they have our class through the entire school year. So it's not just a visit, right? One class, like, they have our class through the entire school year. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see, because again, you see federal government, state government, private sector talking about the need for STEM education and the need
Right.
for workers with computer science skills, technology skills. And a lot of these jobs, the best jobs in America, get outsourced because, other countries have made that a focus of their educational system. So they have the labor force with that expertise that companies like Apple and Google and Amazon, that's the expertise that they need. Exxon, Chevron. I know I'm here in Houston in the oil and gas sector. Again, I was meeting with one of their directors of their IT at Exxon the other day. He talked about, man, we have to compete with Google. We have to compete with Microsoft for talent. And
Yes.
our issue is we're not as cool as Google, right? We're not as cool as Microsoft, right? So again, those are some of the most powerful companies in the country, and they're struggling and looking for the right talent. So I want to be a part of kind of hoping
Cultivating that talent.
right?
Yeah.
There's a need, there's an opportunity. Why not?
There's a huge opportunity forward in the near and long-term future that these are jobs
Yep.
that are going to be around.
Absolutely.
And that's fantastic. Hey, want to quickly get into your definition of resilience, and then we're going to talk about rituals as we wrap things up. But how do you, because you mentioned resilience earlier, and it's a lot of interest to us. How would you define resilience?
Just understanding that you're going to lose, you're not going to win it every time, and being prepared to just keep moving forward. Like, being a defensive lineman, I got blocked a lot, but I only had to, I got 2 sacks in the game. I'm player of the game. I might have played 40, 50 snaps, 30, 40 pass plays where I got blocked. I win 2 of them. I'm player of the game. So you have to be resilient. You have to be able to say, okay, you blocked me that time. Okay, I lost that time. Okay, you got me that time. Okay, you told me no that time. Yeah, you told me no. 10 people just told me no. But hey, I got to keep moving. I got to keep going. And eventually, you'll land where you want to land. So that's resilience to me. It's just understanding, like, you're going to lose. People are going to tell you no. And you just got to keep trying.
Yeah. People, I think we're raised in so many ways to see failure as just an unacceptable result. Like failure almost amounts to a little mini death. We die a little every time we fail because we've been trained that there's such consequences attached to failure. Your grades in school, whether you got, you got punished or whatever, there were consequences attached to making a mistake. And even today in our culture, I mean, in just sort of societally, we see this culture. I think Bill Maher calls it the cancel culture. Somebody makes a mistake and boom, they get taken off the air. If you see an entertainer or somebody that's on, in the movies or on TV or something, and they make a mistake. And by the way, I am not defending certain kinds of mistakes that people make. I mean, if you violate the law, you violate somebody's rights, there ought to be consequences.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, I think the pendulum has swung to such a degree that we're also losing sight of the fact, I feel that we're human beings.
Yeah.
And by nature, it's just what you're saying. I mean, a part of being a human being is to learn resilience, which is to learn from experience. And the greatest teacher of experience are the mistakes we make. I mean, I don't know. it's one of those things
people don't have space to make mistakes anymore, and that's a tough society to live in.
It is. It's tough, and certainly, I guess if we're closing the loop on this one, when it comes to your professional experience, both as a football player and as a business person, if you remove the failure piece, the making mistakes piece from the equation, what would you be left with on a football team or in a business?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be fun, right? It wouldn't be fun because, again, part of the fun of getting a chance to compete is knowing that you can lose and knowing that you got to compete and knowing that you have to make the right move and trying to figure out what move you need to make. In business and growing this organization, again, what I'm doing, I think, is a great cause. But at the end of the day, it's building the organization. It's building the business. So I have to, make the right move, develop the right partnerships, talk to the right people. I'm going to talk to people who are going to tell me no. I'm going to talk to people who are going to tell me yes. There's going to be, and I'm constantly growing and learning and evolving every single day as far as running this organization. But I'm never going to quit, right? I'm never going to quit. And so I know eventually everything will be exactly what I want it to be. It's not on my time. It's just it's on God's time, and I just got to keep working, man. So now I got to tell you this right now. I got to tell you this. We got to finish up because my wife will beat me if I don't go pick up my children.
All right, so it's perfect. The last thing, Ellis, I want to ask you is just give us one personal ritual you've got that helps you to remain resilient, stay resilient.
Meditation, man. Meditation. Mm-hmm. Just taking 10 minutes to myself and trying not to think about anything. Because, again, running this organization, having a family, having a wife, 4 children, mom, on this board of this organization, got to call this person, got to make sure my children are practicing, make sure they're doing their homework, make sure my wife is happy. Like all of these different things, man, like just that 10 minutes to be like, man, I don't want to think. I just don't want to exist right now. I just want to just like shut my brain down and not think of anything. So I would say my best ritual that I have is 10 minutes of meditation every day.
There you go. And when you talk about tens, I just finishing up this book, 10% Happier, which is a book about mindfulness and meditation by Dan Harris, a killer book. So first of all, Ellis, thank you so much for being on the show today. I've ridiculously enjoyed this conversation, and I know everybody else, same thing. So my reminder to our audience, in addition to letting us know your comments and what you thought about the conversation, any questions you've got, just to remember what a blessing it is to be here now in this, whatever this is, because in this moment when we're taking our breath, this breath right now, when you wake up tomorrow and you take another breath and you're awake, you can realize there are people in that same exact moment who are taking their last breath. And that makes that moment special, sacred even, something you can be grateful for. In the midst of any other thing that's going on in your life, you can be grateful in that moment. And if you want to dare to really stretch the bounds of your comfort zone, maybe say these 4 words when you wake up tomorrow. I love my life. I love my life. Ellis, do you love your life?
Love my life, man. I'm blessed.
Right on. All right. Peace out, everybody. Ciao. We'll see you soon. Take care.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you now have the tools and greater insights to navigate your own pivot. Help us inspire others by sharing this episode and leaving your comments over at adammarkel.com/podcasts. For more tips, strategies, and support as you consciously pivot into a new business and lifestyle you love, join our Pivot community on Facebook at pivotfb.com.